Arlington, Texas had the foresight back in the 1960s to bulldoze its downtown area and get rid of all of its history, including its mineral water well and everything and just they got rid of everything. And now they build new buildings to look like old buildings to try to recreate history, but it'll never happen, because once you destroy the real history, it doesn't come back. You could build new things that look kind of, like this. We're in the, they call this the Highlands. Back in the 80s, I think it was, some wealthy developer took this land along I-20 and built like a mini Stonehenge, and everyone thought it was satanic and that they were out here sacrificing things to elder gods, and everyone was up in arms about it. But actually it was just a place saver until they could build this giant shopping center that looks like an old town, and it's actually kind of cool. It's ridiculously busy in the Christmas time, but right now it's July 4th evening, and there's the movie theater. Not many people watching movies. I don't think there's any new movies coming out, and I don't even know when Black Widow or Wonder Woman are coming out. About the only movies I can think of right now. I saw the first Wonder Woman there at this theater, which it looks nice, but it's one of those shitty theaters where they serve food while you're eating, which is a fucking nightmare. So the lights are never completely dimmed, because you gotta eat your fucking food. But it's not really that safe when you got a police tower there. I don't know. Maybe it is safe. I just want to be cynical. But anyway, I came out here to pick up some cheeseburgers. This Kincaid's restaurant is really a great place. One of the best places to get hamburgers that I've ever found in my life. So yeah, Arlington's kind of a boring little commuter town, or it was. The late 50s, the young boy mayor Tom Vandergriff got General Motors to open a manufacturing plant in Arlington, and then the town started building up. And then in the early 60s they opened up the very first Six Flags Over Texas amusement park. And then I think in the mid 60s, around 65, they got the Washington Senators, I think, to come here, and they renamed the Texas Rangers. Although now the Texas Rangers, that's a dirty word. There was a Texas Rangers statue in Love Field, the airport where Kennedy came into, and they just tore that down about a month ago because someone put out a book about how mean the Texas Rangers were to criminals and people. I don't know. So, everyone wants to look at the past with, I don't know. There's a lot of history being destroyed. I don't like to see history destroyed. I tend to preserve history, which is why I've become kind of a pack rat and a hoarder, I've been called. I like to preserve the pop culture past of, Americana. That's why I collect things. I want to preserve it. And, probably be thrown in a dumpster at some point after I head off to the great beyond, but who knows? Maybe I'm doing a good thing. Don't have a whole lot of use for today's time period. You can't really turn on the radio and hear good music. So I just listen to talk radio, and talk radio. Oh, that's one thing. Back in the summer of 76, I kind of became addicted to talk radio. But back then, talk radio was very different. They would talk about UFOs, and they'd talk about things going on, but they really didn't get real political like most all talk radio is now, because they couldn't. There was a rule in place. The fairness doctrine, I believe it was called, where if you had a Republican on, you'd have to give it was equal time, that's what they call it. You'd have to give equal time to a Democrat. So for that reason, stations just they didn't even bother to put on any super political stuff. But now we've got a very important election coming up in November, a very important election. And it seems like it's kind of common sense which way to go. But I won't get too political here, although I'm sure you could probably figure out which way I would go if based on which party wants to get rid of history, which party, because I don't know. There were terrible things that happened in the past, but I don't think we should destroy our history. About right over here on the other side of this strip center here is a cemetery filled with Civil War dead. This used to be way south of town, out in the country. The town has grown up, and I remember this used to be all country, where there was supposed to have been a lady called the Goat Lady that lived out here, and in the 80s, this was nothing. But now it's been built up into hideous strip centers, and I don't give a shit. Oh no, we have the Dallas Cowboys now too, by the way. So Dallas Cowboys don't actually play in Dallas. They never really have since the 60s. They've been, before Arlington, they played in Irving. But anyway, so my tax dollars go to support building giant stadiums. Oh, they had to build a new stadium for the Texas Rangers too, which from what I hear, it looks like a warehouse. It's really ugly. So my property taxes are now over $4,000 a year, and I really want to just move out in the country, away from all this nonsense where the property taxes are low, and maybe I can get a giant Victorian house or go somewhere where I don't know, just away from just away from the sword of Damocles that hangs over your head when you live in a very populated area. But now see, my air conditioner comes and goes. It'll work for a little while, and then it shuts off. Then I have to turn it off, and then it's something to do with the condenser. I'm gonna have to get this fixed. But like I said in the last video, I only paid $4,000 for the car, and then I got some hail damage, and they declared the car a total loss because of the hail damage, and wrote me a check for about $5,000. So now I have a salvage title, but I was able to pay back the money that I borrowed to get the car, and then have an extra $1,000. So it's almost like I was paid $1,000 to take a car that wasn't new, but it was new to me, and it runs well, and it has almost new engine put in it. Oh shit! I don't think I was supposed to do that. All right, nobody saw that though. You didn't see it either. So anyway, it's not the most horrible place to live, but I don't like to see history destroyed. And I'm seeing it every day in the news. Oh well. Let's see. Lots of okay, come on, air conditioner, work. Air conditioner is something that needs to work in July in Texas in a vehicle. I'll roll my window down. Yeah. All right, so whatever you do this November, make sure that you vote.